heard a lot of frightening news about the rapid dynamics and trends of antibiotic resistance in the conference, but also a lot of good news about powerful action plans and interventions to manage the crisis. However, we have all reacted, I think, and this is really critical, very, very, very late to this issue. So simply put, I think we've been trapped in the self-perception that there will always be another antibiotic around when the old ones are worn out. And we know that this is not the case. Not saying that antibiotics are the solution. Every single country in the world faces this problem every day, every minute. We must share the responsibility to find ways out of this impasse, ways that bridges the scientific, technical issue to social and political action. And the responsibility must be based on coordination and commitment on all levels, global, regional, national, and local. And we need to find ways to disseminate information quickly among us, both regarding successes, but not the least regarding failures, so that we avoid inventing the wheel. And I think the Global Forum, as it now will continue, is an excellent forum for this. I'll try to answer your question in English. Although the responsibility for action against antibiotic resistance is ultimately lying in national governments, there falls a particular responsibility, as I see it, on rich countries to support implementation of national antibiotic resistance policy platforms and capacity building and learning in young countries to support their work to strengthen the coordinated strategies against antibiotic resistance. So, is this the case? No, certainly not to the extent that is needed. During the Swedish presidency of the European Union in the fall of 2009, the Transatlantic Task Force on Antimicrobial Resistance, TATFAR, was established to strengthen collaboration between the EU and the US. And the report was launched recently in late September. There were many of us that urged TATFAR to take a global approach to this issue of antibiotic resistance, but this did not happen. Equally disappointing is that the WHO has not been able to mobilize sufficient resources to implement a global strategy to contain antimicrobial resistance. So growing resistance threatens modern healthcare, but it also threatens to undermine third world development. So certainly rich countries and their development aid organizations must commit to this urgent issue and engage more powerfully. That's partly maybe a response to your question. I think we cannot have a blame and shame game. We have just to go together, see this as a problem, a global problem, our problem, everyone's problem. And we do need, I urge the rich countries to take more responsibility here. The pharmaceutical industry also needs to do better. Although it's not a solution, new antibiotics are urgently needed. But the overall innovative capacity is low, both in big and small pharma. And they need to work more together also with the academic sector, in scientific collaboration with the academic sector, as well as securing equitable access and control distribution and rational use of the end program. This just has to be done to avoid the mistakes that have been made over the past 70 years. Of antibiotic era where antibiotics is flooding on the streets and the market. So how can we then increase global momentum and collaboration on the political level? Well, there, I think, and this has been mentioned many times in this conference, there is a similarities between antibiotic resistance and climate change. I think you yourself told us that in the autumn. Well, do we need a UN panel on antibiotic resistance? Well, I believe the answer is yes. But the solutions are not only top-down solutions, we also need a bottom-up response by strengthening and empowering civil society. So our common goal is to secure equitable access to effective antibiotics for all those in need. Thank you very much for this conference.